Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout now, shout now, right now. Shout now, shout now. Don't wait till you make it.
Hey everyone, this is Phillip and welcome to the Phillip Show. I'm gonna grab my coffee. It's kind of rainy outside today, but it's still a beautiful day, but it's kind of rain. It's like one of those days where you just need like some soup or some stew or something, just a blanket and a movie and just call it a day. So listen, this entire month, the month of June, we are talking about stories and we're talking about identity. We're talking about individuality because this month is Pride Month. And throughout this entire month, you're going to hear a lot of journeys, a lot of perspective, a lot of myths that we're going to kind of debunk, and a lot of stereotypes that you're going to hear the real stories too from some of the people that actually live in the LGBTQ plus community and allies. You know, because a lot of times people have questions, but they don't ask. People have assumptions, but they don't ask. People have all these things and they make up scenarios and narratives, and that may not always be the case. So today we have Chasilee on, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her journey and what she does and how she is a part and aligned with the LGBTQ community. Make sure that you listen and you learn. It's all about inspiring as well as education from people who are living the stories. So I'm super excited. So please help me welcome Miss Chasilee.
Hi, Phillip. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I love that blouse.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's giving us like very springtime in the midst of this dismal whatever's happening outside.
Right? You need a little flower sometimes.
You need a flower. And here I am in this old funeral black. Listen. Just pray for my children.
I would normally be wearing black, but I have black pants on. How about that?
There. Okay. Then you can sit at my table. You have black pants. So like I was saying, we are really discussing and kind of breaking down people's journeys, hearing where people come from. Because what I find is that if you're from the outside looking in, there are just a lot of assumptions. You don't know the journey. You don't know the triumphs or the challenges. And when you hear the stories and you put people's faces with the stories, it's so much easier to relate. And a lot of times that'll break down stigmas, stereotypes, and all of that. So tell me, how are you? Oh, and by the way, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we just came out of Mother's Day. I don't think I had a chance to speak to you since then, but happy Mother's Day. And so tell us, how are you aligned with the LGBTQ plus community?
So I have, my daughter is 18 now. And she came out to the family. Actually, she never really came out. We just always knew. But my daughter is transgender.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it? Well, you said you always knew. How was that? You know, because I mean, I have a similar story. You know, when I came out to my family, one of the many times, but when I came out to my family, they're like, "Oh, sweetie, I knew that since you were 7." You know, right. So how was, for the people who are wondering how the journey goes from being in to being out, and a family member as well as a mother, how was that process for you?
So it's funny that you mentioned that about coming out, and I knew that was since I was 7. I have to tell you this funny story before I get started, because my daughter sent me this meme, and it was somebody coming out, or it was a TikTok actually, and somebody was coming out to her, to their parents, and the mom said, "Oh, I'm going to get some coffee. I already knew that." And turned around and walked away. And
yeah,
I was just kind of standing there like, okay, I expected a little more, but okay.
Yeah.
So our story started, I guess, my daughter was in preschool, and she always wanted to be, she wanted her name to be Sally.
Okay.
And so when she would go to school, she would tell all of her friends to call her Sally. She would, instead of going straight to the boy toys, she would always go to the girl toys, and she would dress up. She would wear, at school, they had this grass skirt, and she would put the grass skirt on her head and wear it as hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. was my daughter in preschool. And, you know, at first I knew nothing about the LGBT community. I knew nothing about being transgender. I knew nothing. And my family and friends would all say, oh, it's just a phase. She'll grow out of it. Okay, well, you know, let her do her thing. And then, you know, as she got older, she never grew out of it.
Right.
She wanted her fingernails painted. In first grade, she went to Yellow Springs Elementary, and she wanted to dress as Dorothy for Halloween. And so that was kind of our first interaction with the Yellow Springs schools. We called her teacher and we told her, we said, listen, you know, she's coming as Dorothy for Halloween, and so we just want you guys to be ready for that, and the kids be ready. And so the teacher talked to the kids about Halloween and how, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. And so when Zay came as Dorothy, kids were fine with it. And then, you know, things just progressively got where she wanted more and more and more. She wanted to wear girls' clothes, but, you know, her dad and I, again, didn't know a whole lot about being transgender. And so she was ready to go. I mean, from the get-go, she was like, I'm out of here. This is what I want. This is who I know I am. This is, you know, and so we actually took all of our cues from her. Right. We were more on the slower side. Her dad and I were, as far as, you know, letting her dress. I think we gave up in the 3rd grade and let her dress in girls' clothes to school. Mm-hmm. And she was always allowed to dress how she wanted to dress at home. But when in the 3rd grade, you know, we called the teacher and we said, she wants to wear a skirt to school. We're going to let her wear a skirt to school. And so, you know, I guess we've always just let her be who she is, and we've just taken our cues from her, and she's kind of led the way. She's, you know, very strong-headed, very, very pioneer person, and she has, you know, this is Zay's show. This is not my show.
Yeah. How important was it to have the school's backing during this type of transition?
Oh, I mean, it was very important to have the school's backing. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say that it was all rainbows and butterflies the whole time. I mean, there were times when, you know, my daughter would go to school and she wouldn't use the bathroom all day long because she didn't want to use the boys' bathroom, but she couldn't use the girls' bathroom. And so, you know, my husband went up to the school and talked to the principal about it. And after we found out, you know, that she was not using the bathroom at school. And I mean, of course, since my daughter was the first really transgender person in school, you know, they came up with a solution of she would use a teacher's bathroom that was a single stall bathroom, and, you know, that would work for her. Eventually, it just evolved into her using the girls' bathroom. I mean, it never became an issue, but, you know, after that first incident. And there were times, you know, when you know, I would have to go in and fight for my daughter. I've had to fight for her to join the Girl Scouts. I actually went and met with the leaders of the Ohio Girl Scouts. They called me and said, we noticed that your daughter, you know, wants to join the Girl Scouts. At that point in time, we were still marking male on all of her forms. And they said, but you marked male. And I said, well, you know, it doesn't matter what my daughter is. She wants to be in the Girl Scouts. So we had to have this meeting with these high officials in Girl Scouts. And wow. And, you know, we had to fight and say, my daughter's joining the Girl Scouts. It doesn't matter. And at that point in time, we still didn't realize, you know, that transgender was, you know, her identity. But, you know, we knew that that's where she wanted to be and that's where she was going. And so, you know, we just fought for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's wonderful, because a lot of people who do transition to transgender, or they become who they are. Let me say it that way.
Yes.
Because they're just letting the public know who they are inside. So they're not really transitioning per se. They're just
they've
showing
always
who
been
they are.
who they are.
Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, as parents, you'll hear both sides of the spectrum. Parents that are very, very, very much against it, like very much disowning of their son or of their daughter. And then you have people that work through that, even though it's something that they hadn't foreseen. Why do you think that it's so hard sometimes for parents to accept who their children are, specifically in this kind of situation?
You know, Philip, I don't have an answer to that because I mean, we have when I don't have an answer. I mean, we've been very fortunate to be in a community and a family that, and we honestly didn't give people a choice.
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't give them a choice. They, when I remember when we decided to come out to everybody that Zay was transgender and that we were going to start calling her Zay, and that, you know, we were going to start using female pronouns. My ex-husband wrote a letter to our entire family, or an email, and said, "This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to be approaching things, and, you know, we expect you to do the same."
Oh, just flat out.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's great. That leaves little room, you know, that helps to weed out people very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if there's a culture of either disrespect or something like that, that kind of weeds it right on out.
Mm-hmm.
That weeds it right on out. So
Yeah.
for you, now at this point, you said she's 18?
She's 18. Mm-hmm.
Even as accepting as you are, as a mother, what fears do you have for your daughter?
Well, I mean, I think I have all the normal fears that any parent has for their children. Growing up and, you know, at the age of 18, you know, is she going to graduate high school? Is she going to go to college? Is she, you know, she going to find somebody that loves her for who she is? You know, I think, you know, those are my biggest fears. One of my other biggest fears I think I have is that we've been very fortunate to live in a town, in a place where she's been accepted for who she is. You know, she's been very fortunate to I mean, of course, there's always still the people who are going to bully her and the people who are going to make fun of her. But for the most part, our community has accepted her with open arms. Mm-hmm. And so I'm afraid that, you know, when she gets out of the bubble, she will, you know, experience some hardships that she has never experienced before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, outside, I don't want to say in the real world, but, you know, outside of, you said it well, outside of the bubble, the comfort zone, the familiarity, you know, there lies a lot of people that don't have the same understanding, that don't have the same, it's not even grace, but the same compassion.
Right.
You know? And yeah. You are on the Pride Committee for Yellow Springs.
I am. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So how important would you say to you, how important is celebrating Pride annually? The event of it all. How important is that for the LGBTQ community and allies?
I think it's extremely important. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I do this. I do this for my daughter. You know, I think that she deserves more than a day. I think that she deserves, and I think that, you know, we need to celebrate. I guess the diversity of the community, and we need to celebrate, the background of Pride, and where people started from in order to get to where they are today. I mean, like Pride wasn't, Pride was originally a riot, and a lot of people don't realize that, and now going from a riot to a huge celebration in order to, celebrate your life and to celebrate who you are, I think is something to be very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. How important do you think having allies, people who don't identify as queer or LGBT, but having those people that continue to support, how important do you think that is to the plight of being able to be an individual?
Oh, I think it's, everybody needs allies. You can't do something on your own without having allies. So I think the more allies you have, the better the outcome will be. And I think, for as far as Pride goes, and as far as the LGBTQ community goes, I think, it's like you said earlier, it's just the understanding, and it's just the, people fear what they don't know. So having the knowledge and learning about the community, and I think that, Pride helps get that knowledge out to the community and out to people who can become our allies.
Yeah, it's the awareness piece. Just be aware. A lot of times, people, the walls get broken down when people know people. When you know somebody who walks that journey. When you know someone, it could be identity, it could be race, it could be whatever those walls are. Generally, we see that if you actually personally know someone, then the stigmas are kind of washed away. Then, the fear is washed away because you're kind of educating yourself through interaction.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, this isn't, you're not anything like that. You're not like the stereotype that I think of, because there's stereotypes of there's stereotypes of trans people. There's stereotypes of just gay men, lesbians. There's just all these stereotypes that people just create. And that many times is just not the case.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that, because I'm a huge activist in the trans community, and one of the things that's happening right now is the House bill that they're trying to pass with the transgender sports, and with trans girls not playing sports in high school, and I think it's based on stereotypes. I mean, if you look at my daughter, she can't play sports. She's not a sports player, but she tries. And, it's giving people opportunity, and, it infuriates me that, my daughter has been targeted because of who she is.
Let me ask you this, since you said that, because there's a lot of people, I actually had this conversation with somebody the other day, and there are a lot of people who say they don't mind trans people playing sports, but not against, I guess, biological women. Because they say that a trans woman has an unfair advantage just based on biology.
It's not true.
What do you say? Okay. What do you say? Why do you stand by what you're saying? What do you say?
That's not true. I mean, I don't understand. I mean,
it's a hard one,
It is hard, but it's not true. I mean, if you take the best soccer player who's female and put him up against, another soccer player who's male, she's probably going to whoop him, Sure. I think it's all about your ability I think it's about your desire to play. And I think it's, I don't think biology has anything to do. I mean, yeah, biology does have some things to do with it, but I don't think that it gives. I'm speaking personally because,
Sure.
in my daughter's case, it does not give her an advantage.
Right.
If it did, she'd probably be on, a scholarship somewhere playing sports, but
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. That is quite the national conversation now.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people are just trying to figure out how to fit in. It's kind of like the if this, then that, or if not this, then what?
Yeah.
Because if it's not, if trans people can't play sports, I don't know. It's just it's just a strange conversation because it's like you can't play anything.
Yeah. My daughter was a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she wanted to be.
Well, good. Good. Yeah. I think that's awesome. I do hope that, per this conversation, I do hope that they find some sort of solution. I don't think it's as big of a deal as they're making it.
I don't either.
It's like, I don't think it's that much of a stretch to just, figure it out. But I am glad, you talked about how things have changed, over the years. And I am glad, I'm not glad about the conversation, but I'm glad that we're at the point where they're actually having a conversation. Because that means that it's
barking.
I know. What kind of dog do you have?
I have Shih Tzus.
Shih
They're talking to
Tzus.
the squirrels.
Oh my goodness. My grandfather had a Shih Tzu. His name was Ninja. He was all black. Midnight. All right, so I know that Pride is coming up on the 26th. Now, what are you doing for Pride this year?
I'm sorry?
What are you doing for Pride this year?
What am I doing for Pride? Well, like you said, I'm on the committee. I am going to be riding my golf cart in the parade. I do every year. Trying to find some music to bump to, and going to be going to the silent dance party that we're going to have, which is going to be so fun. I'm so excited. And then we'll just spend some time with my daughter.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the Pride event here has been, it's like an annual party. And I know because of COVID, it's been a little bit different. And it'll be a little bit different this year too, but I'm looking forward to an awesome, awesome time. When we look at the people that are coming in, what is, you talked a little bit about how Yellow Springs is a bubble. What do you think Yellow Springs, in its inclusiveness, how do you think that this is an example to the visitors that come specifically during Pride?
Oh, I mean, I think, it's one of the reasons why we moved here in the first place, because I think it's a very welcoming community. It's very, we're just, I think there are a lot of people who are just very down to earth, very welcoming. I don't think that there's a lot of judgment among the LGBTQ community in this area. And so, I think that people, it's very, our Pride is very family friendly. That's kind of what we've always been known for.
Yeah.
So it's just, and we try to keep it that way. We try to create activities for kids and and families, and to let people know that, this is, a family affair.
Yeah, and I think that Yellow Springs does a really great job with that. One of the reasons, well, one of the ways that I can see that is in part of the slogan, or the slogan. It's Yellow Springs Pride, but it also says "Be yourself here." And I think that is such a simple yet profound statement for a lot of people, because a lot of people are just looking for a place where they don't have to put on a facade, looking for a place where I can just let my hair down, if you will, and just not have to worry about perspective, what the world is doing, what everybody's looking at me for. None of that. I can just be whoever you are. You can just be yourself here. And I think that permeates through not only just Yellow Springs, but the Pride events, because we really celebrate authenticity and uniqueness and individuality, no matter who the individual is. And I think that is one thing that always resonates with me, just that phrase, be yourself here. I'm telling you, a lot of people are looking for a pocket of space where they don't have to feel stressed about who they are or what somebody says about who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to our Pride this year. And are you going to be speaking at Pride?
I've been asked to speak. I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Well, if you are speaking at Pride, I'll see you there. Okay. Yeah, and okay, so for the this is our advice corner now. You're going to give some advice.
Okay.
For the mothers and or fathers who are confronted with the decision of how to respond to their child when it comes to the child's identity not being what they thought. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them?
They're still your child. Love them.
Simple and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as they are still your child. Love them. Profound and simple. Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, Chasilee, thank you so much for spending your time with me, sharing your story and your journey. It's super inspiring, and I applaud you for being one of those parents that didn't give up, for being one of those parents that loves on in spite of, for being one of those parents who wants education, wants to know what's going on because you love your child. That's a wonderful example for people to emulate and for them to follow and draw strength from.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, that was Chasilee, and I'm so excited you got to hear her journey. If you are in Yellow Springs, I'm sure she'll be on her golf cart rolling around. She may even speak, but even if not, just walk up to her and say hello. Get your 6 feet distance and your mask. You know how we do. But I appreciate everything that she shared. And remember, if you are a parent, a loved one, a friend, whatever it is, and you know that somebody is going through a decision of their entire lifetime, and it shouldn't be that difficult, but a decision of their lifetime to say, I am simply gonna be me. Continue to love on them, encourage them, support them, get the education that you need. If you need to ask questions, then ask those. But continue to love. All right, so we will see you next time, and remember that you are the best you in the world. All right, bye.